welcome to the Toffee Blues Opposition View with me, Max. Obviously, the Blues Europa League campaign comes to an end on Thursday with their last group stage game against Apollon Limassol. And with me here today, I've got the chance to speak to AGONA Sport reporter, Marios. So thank you for coming on. Thanks for joining us, mate.
How you doing? Good. Thanks for the opportunity, boss.
I'm okay, thank you, mate. Right, so we'll just go get straight in there with the questions. Last time the sides met, there was a lot of drama. Finished 2-2 with a red card for Apollon, and second later they managed to get an equaliser. So, the game was very dramatic, and it left us Everton fans really frustrated. So, what did you make of that game?
As we talked before that game with the other friend from your website, as I told you, the biggest weapon of teams like Apollon, they come from a smaller league, from a smaller country, against teams like Everton, bigger teams and much bigger size. The biggest weapon that teams like Apollon has is to be underestimated. And we saw how the game went. Apollon had a stubborn defense, and at the end he managed to escape.
Yeah.
Frustrating Everton, and what the team, and then we actually managed to escape with the draw. For me, it was a heroic point and a very great performance against a gigantic. If you go the sizes. We have a team with just a few million euros budget per year, and you got the millions that they count in Premier League. So I think that was let's say it like a heroic stunt. So personally, I am not an Apollon fan. I support Apoel, but of course I root for all the Cypriot teams that they play in Europe. So I think that was a great performance and great result.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, both sides are unable to qualify for the next round. Particularly from Everton, been disappointing so far in the Europa League, so we can't qualify for the next round. But that being said, for both sides in their domestic league competitions, the last few weeks, with both sides have picked up a bit of form. Everton obviously winning 4-0 and 2-0 respectively in their last games, and Apollon, if I'm correct, 4-0 and 6-0.
Yep.
So, how do you think this game will pan out?
First of all, as you said, neither team is qualified, so there is no I don't think there's gonna be a lot of drama.
Definitely.
Both teams, they're gonna play open. That's for sure. I expect to see an open game. I know Everton is coming with a lot of substitutes and reserves, which is now I see Everton I started improving under Sam Allardyce coaching. I think that Everton is gonna go and test some of the subs and the reserves, and is gonna keep some. Let's say. It's gonna focus more on the Premier League, to be honest, which is more important. From the other side, Apollon right now has the fullest, the most complete roster in Cyprus. So they have the advantage to be able to rotate their players, especially their attack. They actually have a very great talented attack. You saw they managed to score 4-0 and 6-0 in the last two games, 10 goals. Apollon, I think, is going to go hit the game because they have nothing to lose, first of all. They can rotate their squad, and also they want to get the money from the win, because for teams like Apollon and Apollon that they're competing in the Champions League and Europa League respectively, the money that comes from the European competitions is very important.
Yeah.
So I think Apollon is going to come and hit the game, from my perspective.
So, like you said, obviously with both teams not being able to qualify, there's not really much to gain in that sense. But like you've said, obviously for a team like Apollon, there's obviously a lot financially to gain from being in European competition. And on that note, with obviously European competition, what do you think the attendance will be like for the game? Because obviously Everton's away allocation is sold out with, I think it's around 1,400 seats. We've sold all our seats out. So do you think many will turn up for the game?
I think they're gonna come. The difference, the game is gonna be Nicosia, which is the capital. Apollon comes from the second largest city of the island, which is Limassol. So there is always this problem from the transfer. I mean, it's not far. It's about an hour, maybe 50 minutes, an hour, right, to go to the stadium. That's going to be played, but it's not at their hometown. So when Apollon plays the game, the stadium is never full up. I think there's going to be an attendance.
Yeah.
However, you don't. I mean, the fans in Cyprus are very they make a lot of noise.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna get that crazy feeling, I think, because of the distance, because of the weather, because of the time. But there's the Apollon fans, they support and they go. So I think it's gonna be a nice game from that perspective. But unfortunately, because they don't play on their own stadium, they can't create that atmosphere. That was gonna be like playing in a home stadium.
Yeah, just back to the football as well. Like you mentioned, the both starting 11, both teams, obviously they're not going to be full strength. They're likely to be a lot different from usual. Obviously, Apollon will be focusing on their league, and obviously with Everton picking up a bit of form, and with the Merseyside derby coming up, we're going to be focusing on the Premier League. Are there any Apollon Limassol players in particular you think may cause us problems?
I will definitely point on their attack, on their offense. I think Skembri, he's a Maltese international. He's very dangerous. They have like excellent wingers, like Sardinero. I think he was in the starting 11 of the first game in Liverpool, and I would say Zelaya. He's Argentinian, and of course the Brazilian, the number 10 of Apollon, Alex da Silva, who is like the good old wine. He's 35, but he's a great playmaker. And I think Coach Agustis is going to give him a place in the starting 11.
Yeah.
My thing is like what I'm thinking. I think Apollon is going to do changes, but we're not going to see the changes in the size that we're going to see in Everton. I mean, they have an upcoming derby with Omonia, which is one of the big six in the Cypriot League, who had just got a 5-0 defeat from the leader of the league. So it's gonna be a very interesting derby. But we're gonna see changes in Apollon squad, but I think they're not gonna make you're not gonna see reserves. You're gonna see maybe, let's say, with a few changes, you're gonna see the basic squad that Apollon uses on the games.
Yeah, but like you said, obviously their attack and their wingers seem particularly strong. As I've done my research, this season scoring 31 and only conceding 9. I mean, they're really impressive statistics, and to make that even more impressive, unbeaten in the league with 7 wins and 4 draws. Saying that they're only in 5th somehow. So, what are the Apollon fans feeling? Do they feel like they can go the rest of the season unbeaten? Maybe. What do they feel like they can achieve?
The reason that they are 5th. I'm sorry. The reason that I lost you for a second. The reason they are 5th is because they have to play 3 games. The game is actually match day 15 is coming up, but Apollon is 3 games behind because they started late. They started late the league because they had the qualifiers. So the league gives teams like they're in the qualifiers. They give them they postpone the games in order to help the teams go to play the games without much. Let's say they don't want to give them hard time because it's very important from teams from our country to do good performances because they help the countries, the UEFA,
the profile
ranking, the profile and the ranking in UEFA for the whole country.
Yeah.
So Apollon is fifth because they have 3 games that they're gonna be played sometime in January, February, and one of those games is the derby with Apoel, which is very important. That was postponed in early November because of bad weather, which is very funny for Cyprus. But and it's another problem that the stadium was the grass was in very bad condition. There was rain. And the game was unable to be played, so that game was postponed too. So Apollon has 3 games in hand.
Right.
If they manage to win all their games, they move the first. They are now 7 points behind the first place. If they won all 3 games, they go above them.
Yeah.
So I think Apollon right now is the most completed team in Cyprus, and they are gonna find alongside with Apoel and AEK Larnaca for the title.
Right. From your perspective as a reporter, do you feel like they could go the whole season unbeaten?
I would say, let's say as a reporter, I would say yeah. As a fan, I would say I hope no, because I don't support Apollon. But I would say yeah, and I think we're gonna see on the games between like the AEK, Apoel, they're gonna show their, let's say what we say in Cyprus, their mettle of the champions.
Yeah.
Because for Cyprus, Apoel is like 5 years now is the consecutive winner of the of the championship. Apollon managed to get the cup against Apoel, and it's unbeaten from Apoel like. For 5 games now.
Yeah.
So let's say Apoel on the papers is the strongest team of Cyprus. Apollon is the only team that managed to survive encounters and not only survive but also beat Apoel.
Yeah.
So I think that Apollon squad has great potential and is, from my view, it's, let's say, the biggest contender for the title.
Well, that obviously, very impressive, as you say. And in terms of this game, it fascinated me the last game when it was at Goodison Park, because although Everton were they were in poor form and weren't playing very well, even so, Apollon seemed to frustrate Everton in that defensively they seemed very organised. I mean, we mentioned their attack a lot and say how good their attack is and how many they score, but in terms defensively, they seemed really organised. Everton were really frustrated. They had many shots, not many hit the target. There was, efforts off target, So do you feel like that could be an approach that you take towards this game as well, to frustrate Everton in terms of defence, like being defensively organised?
I don't think we're gonna see the same game like the first one. As we discussed that, the things for the game is much different now.
Yeah.
I don't think that of course they are gonna defend, but I'm expecting to see a much different game. I think Apollon is gonna play more open this time. There's nothing to lose, as we said before.
Yes.
And also, I don't expect Everton to put the big guns in the game. So I think that we're going to see a little bit different game. Of course, Apollon, again, is not the favorite. On the first game, I think also is frustrating for Everton, because you go in the home ground, you go in as the favorites, and you see that stubborn defensive, it's like a double pass, like Mourinho does. But that's the only approach that a team like Apollon, a smaller sized team, can do in such kind of games.
Yeah.
So, as we discussed before the first match, that for me was like completely logical, and that's the only approach you can take in such games. Mm-hmm. The only thing you cannot be afraid your opponent, and also expect to get advantage of any mistakes. That's what it happened. So Apollon managed to get the draw in Goodison Park. Again, I believe that we're gonna see a much different game tomorrow. Not tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. And of course, I'm pretty curious to see, because we're gonna see a much different game, and I'm very curious to see what the outcome is gonna be.
Yeah. So, from an Everton perspective, obviously you mentioned before you're aware of Sam Allardyce coming in and obviously you're aware of the fact that our form seemed to have turned over the last few games. What in that part of Europe, what have the media made of Everton over the last few weeks?
I think that Sam Allardyce is gonna change things in Everton. My perspective is like that. The thing is like when let's say when the team is not going well and it's obvious that there's a problem with the coach. That's what I get from watching the media and preparing myself for the chat that we're having today.
Yeah.
I got that the players want to show to Sam Allardyce that they deserve to be on the squad.
Yeah.
That's what the message I get. I think you agree with me because you obviously it's your team and you are more updated. That's what I get.
It will. It is bound to happen because, as you say, there's not much to gain from the game. The game's pretty much a dead rubber type of game. So obviously, from both squads, a lot of rotation is likely to happen.
Exactly, but also I think that some players that they haven't get much time, they also want to prove Sam Allardyce. You know what, coach? We deserve a chance. We deserve give us some time. We can do stuff on the field. So I think it's a good it's gonna be a good rehearsal for the upcoming games. And of course you have the Liverpool derby coming up next Sunday, which is very big. And I think also it's a good opportunity for players that they haven't been used a lot or they are subs and they want to prove themselves. And it's going to be a game that Sam Allardyce is going to use to do some, let's say, try some systems, some formations, and let's see. I think that way though we're going to see a nice game. Yeah. Because it's gonna be an open game and it's good. I mean, from that perspective, is nice. We're gonna see no stress, an open game, and that's why I'm curious to see how the outcome is gonna be.
Yeah.
From that game.
So obviously, that is Thursday. That will wait till Thursday. It's quite an anticipated game in that obviously both sets of fans are excited because there's opportunities to see talent that as you said hasn't had the stage to shine yet. So given the chance, I'm sure we'll see a very open and exciting game. So that will be it for today.
If you let me do a question.
Yeah,
if you can let me do a question for you.
Right.
Okay. How you guys see the game passing, and mostly it's going on my side of the room. How you guys? I mean, you think is that gonna be a good rehearsal? What you guys expect to see from your team? I mean, we expect to see changes, but you wanna see like an attitude towards the game. Like it's not like a game that we take the subs and we're gonna have fun and what do you guys expect to see? Because the team, the coach just changed. You guys improved. You have an upcoming derby with Liverpool. What you guys want to see on the game? What do you expect from your team?
Obviously, the derby is absolutely huge. The derby is massive, and I think that's on the forefront of every Evertonian's mind, thinking about the derby. But as I've said, we're excited for this game because in the summer we signed a lot of players that haven't gelled well and haven't really settled down in the squad. The likes of Sandro, Davy Klassen. They've come over and they've not managed to get much game time, but maybe that's down to not being able to settle in well. But in that sense, we're excited because we get to see some of these fringe players and players that haven't been used so much included, and it'd just be nice to see how Allardyce uses them in a certain system, because obviously with Allardyce coming in, it's a complete change of system to what we're used to. So it'll just be interesting to see how he uses certain players to express his system.
Oh, yeah. Great.
Right. So just to end on, it's a tradition at the for the opposition view. I think Jerry will like this one. Marios, what is your favourite film, by the way?
Okay. I mean, I like a lot of war movies. That's one I like, but I would say For that question, my answer is gonna be a sport movie because obviously we're talking about sports. We'll choose Invictus. If you ever seen Invictus about rugby, I think it's a great movie, not only from the sports perspective, but also from the let's say the social perspective of how South Africa managed to emerge from the apartheid and managed to unite the country under a sport. That was like a lot of people, like if you see at the movie, the black South Africans, they were more interested into soccer. The white South Africans, they were more interested into rugby. So there's like rugby as a game sport managed to emerge and unite the country. I think that there's a lot of messages to see that at the end sports unite people. And yeah, it's a strong movie with great messages. So that's my choice for that question. And yeah, we I mean in Cyprus we love soccer, but we don't understand much with rugby. But yeah, I think that's a great movie, and I think everybody should sit down and watch it. I think everybody's gonna enjoy it.
Yeah, great film. Right, so that'll be us. That'll be us for today. Thank you for tuning in. If you have. I'm Max from the Toffee Blues. Check out some of Marios's stuff on AGONA Sport. He's a reporter. He'll have a lot of stuff on there, and I'm sure I'll give some read myself. I'm sure it's good. So thanks for coming on, and all the best for Thursday, mate.
Thank you, mate. All the best to you guys too. Thanks for the help, and thanks for giving us the opportunity. And again, thanks for saying our name. We're the only Greek website in English for Greek sports. So you guys take a look on us. Have a great rest of your day, and all good luck to both of teams. And I hope we see a great game Thursday night.
I'm sure we will.
Thank you. Well, good night.
Cheers, mate. Thanks. Thanks to Marios again, and thank you for watching. If you're liking the videos, make sure you like and leave a comment down below. Subscribe as well, that'd be great. If you listen via podcast, then rate the episodes and leave a review.